I know you want to master English and speak fluently, but you are tired of boring methods and lots of grammar. In this video, you'll practice shadowing with me using an exciting story. It's the fastest way to improve pronunciation, speaking, and fluency. You might ask, what is shadowing? Shadowing is when you just listen to me as I speak and repeat after me. I promise your English will improve. Ready? Here's the story. Emma stepped off the train, gripping the handle of her suitcase a little too tightly. The air smelled different here, like rain on pavement and coffee from 100 different cafes. Around her, people moved fast, talking into phones, rushing past as if they had somewhere important to be. Back in her small town, people took their time. They stopped to chat on the streets. They knew each other's names. But here in London, Emma felt invisible. Then, suddenly, a car horn. Emma jumped back. She had stepped too close to the road without realizing it. A man in a suit walked past, shaking his head. A woman with a stroller barely glanced at her. She felt like she was in the middle of a giant river, and everyone knew how to swim except her. She took a deep breath. The adventure felt different. She was standing in the middle of a city that never slowed down. And then, it started to rain. Was this how her first day in London was going to go? Lost, alone, and wet? She had two choices, panic or figure things out. She looked up at the sky, then back at her nearly dead phone. What was she going to do next? Emma took a deep breath and stepped forward. She could do this. She had watched videos about London, read articles, even practiced how to talk to taxi drivers. But now, standing here with real people rushing past her, everything felt different. She walked up to a taxi, cleared her throat, and tried to sound confident.
Hello. Can you take me to?
Sorry. Booked.
The driver said quickly and rolled up the window. Emma blinked. Wait, what? She stepped back as another person got into the taxi behind her. Okay, maybe not every taxi is free. She tried another.
Excuse me, can you?
The driver just pointed to his phone. Emma leaned closer and saw a name on the screen. Oh! People book taxis with an app here. Her face felt hot. She stepped aside and watched as more taxis came and went. Some people waved at them from the street, but most just tapped their phones and waited. Emma pulled her own phone. I should have downloaded that app before I got here. Just then, a voice interrupted her thoughts.
Need a ride?
Emma turned to see a girl about her age, smiling. She had dark curly hair, bright green sneakers, and an oversized backpack.
I saw you trying to get a taxi. You're new here, right?
Emma hesitated, then nodded.
Yeah, first day in London.
The girl smiled.
I knew it. It's pretty obvious.
Emma let out a nervous laugh.
Yeah, and I am kind of lost.
Yeah, it seems you are lost. Happens to everyone.
She held up her phone.
I can call a ride for you if you want. Where are you heading?
Emma hesitated. Should she trust a stranger? But the girl seemed friendly, and right now, Emma really needed help. She took a deep breath and said,
I'm going to Kensington, my university dorm.
Perfect. I live near there. I'm Sophie, by the way.
Emma smiled for the first time that day. Maybe she wasn't so alone after all. Emma slid into the back seat of the car next to Sophie, her heart still beating a little fast. The city looked even bigger from inside the taxi, tall glass buildings, red big buses, streets filled with people. Everything moved so fast.
You're gonna love it here,
Sophie said, scrolling through her phone.
London feels huge at first, but you get used to it. Where are you from?
A small town up north. You've probably never heard of it.
Emma said. Sophie thought for a second.
Nope, but it sounds peaceful.
Emma laughed.
Yeah, it's nothing like this.
She glanced out the window.
Back home, there's one main road, and everyone knows everyone. Here, I feel like I could disappear and no one would notice.
Sophie nodded.
I get that. But that's the cool thing about London. You can be anyone here. No one cares where you're from or what you do. It's kind of freeing.
Emma had never thought of it that way. Maybe she's right. As the taxi turned onto a wide street, Sophie pointed at a busy cafe on the corner.
Best coffee in town. And that bookstore over there? Dangerous. You walk in just to look around. And next thing, guess what? You've spent your whole money.
Emma smiled. She liked the way Sophie talked about the city. It made London feel less scary, like a place she could actually belong. A few minutes later, the taxi stopped in front of a row of old brick buildings.
Here we are, Kensington dorms.
Emma stepped out, looking up at the building. This was it, her new home. Sophie grabbed her backpack.
Hey, I live 5 minutes away. If you ever need a local tour guide, just text me.
Emma hesitated for a second, then said,
Actually, do you want to grab coffee tomorrow? I think I'll need survival tips.
Sophie smiled.
Now you're thinking like a Londoner. See you tomorrow, small-town girl.
As Emma walked toward the entrance, she felt different, still nervous, but also excited. Maybe this big city wasn't so impossible after all. Emma pushed open the door to her dorm building, her suitcase rolling behind her. She found her room number, took a deep breath, and stepped inside. The room was small but cozy, a wooden desk, and a bed by the window overlooking the street. She dropped her bag, sat on the bed, and let out a long breath. I made it. She pulled out her phone and opened her messages. A new text from Sophie popped up. Sophie.
Hope you survived move-in. Coffee at 10?
Emma smiled. Emma.
See you then at 10.
She looked out the window at the city lights. A few hours ago, she had felt lost, overwhelmed. But now she had a friend. And maybe, just maybe, London was starting to feel like home. That's the end of today's story. Now, let's see how much you've learned. Here's a simple question for you. What would you do if you feel stuck in a new city? Write your answer in English in the comments below. That's all for today's episode. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so I can make more free lessons for you. Goodbye, English speakers. See you in the next episode.